The Fantastic Four trailer dropped. All of us Fantastic Four fans are stoked. And we're going to finally see a great Fantastic Four movie on screen. Well, before you go see that movie, there's one book that I want to implore that you read. There's lots of choices I could pick. But if you're going to read one Fantastic Four book, I recommend Fantastic Four Grand Design by Mr. Tom Scioli. Stay tuned and watch this video until the end. And we're back. My name is Taylor. This is Taylor Talks Comics. Thank you so much for joining me. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. There's a lot of books I can recommend for you to read before seeing the movie. But if you're only going to be able to watch or read one book in time, you don't have a lot of time to read, then I recommend this. Obviously, I can go with the Galactus trilogy of Fantastic Four issues. Honestly, I want to recommend the whole 102 issues of Lee Kirby Fantastic Four, because I think it's one of the greatest runs of comic books of all time. But this is a great one-and-done type deal to read, to get you to know these characters in the fastest way possible, and it's done in a great way. Tom Scioli is one of my favorite cartoonists going today. He's done such great things as like G.I. Joe versus Transformers, Witchman, Godland. He did American Barbarians, one of my favorite comics he's ever done. He's got the new Godzilla Masterpiece Theater coming out. So I just love all of his work. And the way I describe Tom Scioli comics is he just makes fun comics. If you want to read just a fun comic book, you can do no wrong with the Tom Scioli book. So this is the Treasury edition of Fantastic Four Grand Design. This is the sequel series, or the second coming series of the Grand Design project. Ed Piskor kicked it off and created the Grand Design type deal with X-Men, another fun project I really enjoy. And then Tom Scioli did Fantastic Four, and then Jim Rugg did Hulk Grand Design. And they all add their own little piece to it. But the idea of the Grand Design project is to take one cartoonist, and he's going to write, draw, pencil, ink, letter, everything for this one project, telling the entire history of one character or a group of characters through through a series of issues. So this is 2 issues long, but there are 40 pages each. So anyways, here's the Treasury edition. Has like the best use of spot gloss ever. You see all the heroes there. Do you see Sue Storm? Oh, a little bit. Oh, the Invisible Woman. Such a cool idea. And then here's a spine, and then the back cover, which is really cool. So this is, like I said, a Treasury edition. This new format that I think the first one of this format that came out was X-Men Grand Design, but someone correct me if I'm wrong. But because back in the day, Marvel had the Treasury edition that was this format, but it was like single issue comics. But this Treasury edition with this flexi cover type format, I feel like X-Men Grand Design was the first, because it was kind of mimicked off of Ed Piskor's Hip Hop Family Tree. Here's the end papers, which are really cool. I think the front and back end papers are the same. And then here's some good introduction pages. So each Grand Design project has their own little take on this, which I forget who the first artist to do this was. But Ed Piskor kind of mimicked it with his own artwork, and then Tom did his. And he actually has in the back a sample. Here's a sample sketch idea that he's going to do originally with all the different characters. But then he took it and decided to do all the different types of universes or areas that the Fantastic Four characters explore. Then we get into, here's the first cover of the first issue. And I just absolutely love what Tom Scioli did with this. This is so, like, it's, like, yes, I said it's 40 pages for 2 issues, but there's so many panels packed into here and so much information that this will take you a long time to read. And I love this beginning. Right here, 4 astronauts walk into a rocket. Stop me if you've heard this one before. So you can see it looks like the origin of the Fantastic Four is kicking off the story with a walk to the Watcher, kind of telling you the story, which he was the main narrator in the X-Men Grand Design comics. So this is kind of a bridge to that gap there. And then they're telling the story in chronological order. So that's one thing that Ed did too in X-Men, was telling the entire history of the X-Men in chronological order. So like one example, like Mr. Sinister didn't debut in the comics until much later into Chris Claremont's run, but we learned that he had impacted so many things that happened in previous years, decades to that. Maybe a little bit of retcon. So Ed took that and showed you Mr. Sinister when he debuted and put all that in chronological order. So not chronological by publishing date, but chronological by story. So that's what Tom Scioli's doing here too. He's showing you the Eternals, the Celestials, even a cool cameo by Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur right here. Another Jack Kirby creation. Galactus and how he started. Kang the Conqueror. Even the Shield. The Order of the Shield, which I think was a Jonathan Hickman story that came out in 2010. So even like the Infinity Stones right here, or gems. And then the Inhumans, like showing you everything in chronological order before we get to the Fantastic Four even. So we get Black Panther, we get Namor, Doctor Doom, all these characters that impact Fantastic Four's histories in just those first few pages. And then we get to the Fantastic Four origin. Each character gets one page. I know Tom said he, when he was creating this project, I should zoom in a little bit since these panels are so compact. When he was creating this project, he almost did it like in Sunday strip form. It's like one page tells one story. And you definitely get that with the origin of the characters here. So this has been Grimm's one-page story. Here's Reed Richards' one-page story on this side. And then over here we get Johnny Storm. And then we get into the origin of the Fantastic Four themselves. Now this is really cool. So we saw previously, we've been seeing like this really tight, compact, like, I don't know, was that a 20 panel grid on these pages? And anytime he breaks that panel grid, it's in a huge, like, big moment that you want to really impress upon. And it breaks that panel grid. There's all these Easter eggs throughout here too. Like you see the masks, like they're putting on these ski masks to hijack this rocket ship. Those are the masks that like the Thing was going to wear originally, and then he doesn't. I think it comes back to maybe later in Tom DeFalco's run. And then you see these images of like Human Torch turning, into a flame the first time, Invisible Woman. It's almost like this body horror, which I love when the origins are depicted that way, because you can imagine it being that way if you were just set on fire all of a sudden. And then they come back. Now we break into Fantastic Four issue number 1, broken down into just a few pages. So you remember the flare gun that he shoots off to get their attention, Mole Man, and then we get into Submariner. So what this whole thing is doing is it's just moving. It's a fast, rapid beat throughout the history of the Fantastic Four, telling you that like it's compacting it all down into just 80 pages. So that's why I said, like, if you are gonna go see this movie, this is a great way just to like learn all these characters in a super rapid, fast way, and this great artwork that Tom Scioli. I mentioned earlier that they pencil ink letter write everything in here, but Tom Scioli doesn't actually use inks anymore. He just does pencils and colors, which is, I think, an awesome style. Something that he adopted about halfway through the G.I. Joe vs. Transformers series, and it's just like a signature style of him. And he puts it on this aged-looking paper too, which is like kind of the Grand Design type deal too, to make it look vintage and retro, which is also kind of reminiscent of what they seem like they're going for this movie. Is like a more retro feel. I do love this little Easter egg too of having the Impossible Man, and it says we had to leave town by getting rid of him by saying his name backwards or ignore him or something. I forget the details. It's obviously a reference to Mixel or whatever his name is in the DC mythos. That's the Impossible Man was kind of gimmicked after. So again, just a rapid pace. You see Spider-Man trying out for the Fantastic Four in that famous issue. The Incredible Hulk and Thing fighting. Ant-Man's in here. There's so much happening all throughout this first issue. Just truly going through the entire history of the Fantastic Four. The Baxter Building. You remember those classic pinups that Jack Kirby would do, showing off every floor of the Baxter Building? There's Tom Scioli's his own little take on it. this famous cover too. Today's the day. Wedding bells for Reed and Sue, showing off their marriage together. Trying to go over everything. Here's another panel break with this incredible piece of Tom Scioli artwork, Silver Surfer. I think this would make a really good pinup if Tom Scioli was able to make that a pinup and sell it. Like maybe Mondo could do something like that. Like I know I'm going to show later Ed Piskor's variant cover that he did for the series. Mondo has made a print of that, but like that's such an awesome Silver Surfer image. And then we get to issue 2. So Tom's talked about this, and it's totally true that the first issue was kind of like Tom doing it for Marvel, and then issue number 2 is Tom doing it what he wants to do with Fantastic Four. He's still going through that mythos of Fantastic Four, but he's taking some liberties, and it's not like liberties like he's doing like these radical things. Like it's still fitting into the story and the narrative of who the Fantastic Four is, but it's just like doing fun Tom Scioli things. Obviously, again, another big panel break with a great picture of Galactus here. And we get some Silver Surfer action here. I love this, like he's showing off the Kirby tech. Because that's one thing I haven't noted too. I Am Stan and Jack Kirby, the life story of the King of Comics, are 2 biography comic books that Tom Scioli has done, which are both great. I highly recommend those. But Tom Scioli's a huge Jack Kirby devotee. I think his artwork has evolved beyond that, but like some of his early artwork, like you look in Godland and American Barbarian and things, like it's such a Kirby-esque inspiration, which I love. He wears his inspirations on his sleeves, and I love when cartoonists do that. So if there's one person that's going to do a grand design of a Kirby creation, like it's got to be Tom. He does such a great job. I love this collage too. I actually have my phone case that I'm filming this on. It has this on the back of it. Not the Tom Scioli drawn picture, but the Jack Kirby one. Here's them in Wakanda fighting the Black Panther. I love that too, just like the reflection on Silver Surfer's face of the thing as he's walking up to, because it's clobbering time. You get Johnny Storm's like love interest throughout here too. With there's one page where they go through the entire, almost like his entire love life. Let's see if I can find it. Again, breaking the panel borders, or breaking the panel grid again with showing off Ego and Galactus in a really great way. I'm trying to get here's my favorite page. Okay. So this is like a perfect description of what Tom Scioli brings to comics. And when I saw this page, I said, this is it. This is Tom Scioli doing Tom Scioli things, and I absolutely love it. So he has all the Black Panther characters, or 5 of them at least, forming this Voltron. You can see on the previous page with the different panthers instead of lions. Forming this Voltron to fight Galactus. Like, it's like such an amazing, fun idea. Like, who doesn't love that? And then you get this awesome picture of Galactus fighting all these Marvel heroes. Like, that's the stuff that Tom Scioli brings to comics that Marvel and DC should have him doing more comics all the time. Here's Black Suit Spider-Man. You get a little cameo there from the symbiote as Reed Richards helps him remove it from his body. And then that's it. But the stretch edition is not done because they also included This Man, This Monster, issue number 51 of Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Cited by both Stan Lee and Jack Kirby as one of their favorite single-issue comic books they've ever done in their career. And now this is a different version of this comic because this is colored by Ed Piskor. So Ed Piskor took his style of coloring and he went back and colored this. And I think this treatment is so much better than what we normally get from Marvel with their Masterworks program. It's like the oversaturated and garish look with the bright, stark white paper. This looks more like the original comic book. And I love it. And this is the story that has that image that I said is on my phone case. Right here. I've done it. I'm drifting into a world of limitless dimensions. It's the crossroads of infinity, the junction to everywhere. And then that's that. And then what better way to finish the colored by Ed Piskor story than have Ed Piskor's variant cover, which is one of my favorite variant covers of all time. It's my favorite Marvel character, The Thing, and it's after Frank Miller. It's him doing the cover of The Dark Knight Returns, one of my favorite Frank Miller stories of all time. Here's a variant by Tom Scioli. Here's Jim Rugg doing a variant, which is fun. Cartoonist Kayfabe is a channel that Jim Rugg and Piskor had on YouTube. The kayfabe part, and a lot of it was influenced by wrestling. So what better way than to have Jim Rugg do a Four Horsemen cover of the Fantastic Four. And here's all the annotations by Darren Jensen. So he goes almost page by page, but not every single page. Or does he go every single page? Yeah, he does, because it says 13 through 15, 16 through 18. Page by page, showing off what story pieces that Tom is referencing and where they take place from. So you'll even see everything from like before Fantastic Four all the way through like Journey to Mystery 83 is there. I know he references the 2010 Jonathan Hickman story in here as well. So all those annotations are like ways to go back and read some of these stories if you're like, where did that happen at? And here's some sketch ideas, cover concepts that Scioli was doing before. I love this one. It's the homage to TMNT #1. Such a cool looking cover there. But so, all it is are great covers. I don't know why Marvel doesn't hire him to do more variant covers. Or maybe they do and he is too busy with other projects. I don't know. But here's him working out the ideas, like the 4 astronauts walk into a rocket idea. And like I said, the intro cover sketch that he went a different route with. And a couple other sketches. That's it. That's Fantastic Four Grand Design, a nice little one and done story. This is a Treasury edition. I think this is out of print, but they have released this in a small trade paperback, which I think it's only like $19.99 cover price, so you can pick that up pretty easy. I think the Treasury edition's worth it, especially with all these compact panels and stuff. If you could track one of these down. But such a fun series. If you're going to go see the Fantastic Four movie, can't recommend this series enough. Like I said, obviously, reading the 102 issues of Fantastic Four by Lee Kirby would be another great way to go about preparing yourself for the movie. But this is a nice little one afternoon enjoyment where you can do that. Thank you for watching. Again, I am Taylor Talks Comics. Please subscribe to my channel. Comment down below with your thoughts on this, what you're hyped for the Fantastic Four movie. Any other Fantastic Four stories you want me to cover on the channel. It's my all-time favorite Marvel comic is the Fantastic Four, so I can talk about them all day. Let me know what your recommendations are. And everyone, keep talking comics.